And we are live. Hello and welcome. Folks should be joining anytime now. But if you're just joining, you can write on chat where you're connecting from. We'll give everyone a minute or two to have a chance to join.
Matt, you ready for Amsterdam?
I am indeed. Yeah, it will be fun to go there. I've been, as you know, I've been running lately 3 times a week, and Amsterdam seems like the perfect place to go for a run in a park. And I know you want to do it too. So
True. It's funny because we found a hotel which is 10 meters from a circuit where you can run.
yeah, it is indeed. But I wouldn't want to run on a circuit on a stadium. I
Too
much
obvious.
prefer doing it in the nature. Yeah. Oh, we've got Julian from France, Paris. Hi, Julian. Okay, just a minute and we'll get started.
Yeah, for those of you who will join us in Amsterdam, there will be a session for, I think, partner who organizes the conference.
It's Companion, I believe, right?
Yeah, next week. Yeah, we're gonna be there. We're gonna have a session where we're gonna share some good news as a collaboration with Microsoft, and naturally, we probably will be able to meet each other in Dynamics Minds. That will be the next event, I think.
Mm-hmm. Cool. It's 4:02, so let's get started. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to jump into the topic of the state of D365 test automation in 2025. And we'll dive deep into some of the best practices and where we're headed. Hi, Rafał. Rafał's joined us. My name is Mateusz Łukowiec. I'm responsible for our partnership channel, where we work with many excellent partners and where we help them solve some of the major issues their clients are having with D365. And we do that with our products. Executive Automats, the solution we'll touch upon today, is the main product and the issue that we help solve with it is obviously testing. Together here with me is Bartosz Piech. Bart is the VP of products, responsible for all the major solutions that we create and develop. He's basically the big brains behind Executive Automats, and for sure my very favorite person to do webinars with. Bart, it's always a pleasure. And what we'll discuss today, so we're going to start with a brief review of 2024, and Bart will take you through some of the statistics our clients generated last year. Then I'll touch on why it makes sense to automate your D365 testing in 2025, when is a good time to do it, and what factors you should consider when choosing the right tool for the project. Then Bart will jump into the tool to show you Executive Automats in action, show you a little sneak peek, and then he's going to also touch upon a little on the vision for the future, so what's coming next. And then lastly, we'll hold a Q&A session, and that will be a wrap. So let's jump into it. Bart, I believe you're up.
Thank you so much, Matt. So starting with statistics of 2024, we've been growing pretty rapidly. We know more regarding how people are testing, and it is actually a big privilege for us to share something which for community will be meaningful, to give you some feeling how much people are testing, what are the problems which are found within the test area, where is the profit for partners, where is the savings, where are the savings for customers at the end of the day. And it is getting wild. With numbers we've been running last year, we've been able to simulate 5 million test cases sorry, there's one misspelling. So far, we have 5 million test cases so far for the execution, and that is the value which represents actually end-to-end processes, very long processes which are happening on the system. We have a customer which is executing 61,000 test cases per month cycle, which is actually an equivalent of 20 people working day by day. And you can ask yourselves why you test 61,000 test cases per month. It's simply because it is no cost for you when it comes to repetitions. The test cases which are designed in our tool, they can be executed 100 times per day. We have some number series, we have functionalities which are covering you from the perspective of reusability of a test case. So one test case recorded should give you the chance to run it infinite number of times until there are some changes in the system. And that is results where customers exceeding 61K. We had one glimpse of customer which did 81,000 test cases per month, but we have validated what they were doing, and they were actually doing performance testing. So we couldn't count that. We had to actually exclude those customers from the application statistics, because this won't give us a sense. Out of the statistics, we also built strategy for roadmap, strategy for developing new products. We are able to help the customers with error messages, and things are happening on the system at the end of the day. And averages, which is pretty interesting. In average, from our customer portfolio, we are running 1,700 test cases per month. And that is, again, not the amount of test cases which are in average customers are having. It is an average of executions, an average number of test cases around 150, 170. That was the average, which actually shows that customers are running multiple times the same test cases over a month. These numbers are concluding into simulation of close to 800 million of operations in the system. Actions, postings, journal creations. It's very nice and meaningful. We are able to provide Microsoft some heat maps and some idea how the system works. And each year we have a significant growth of over 40% year to year. From the savings perspective, if you think about that, and we don't want to talk about those edge cases where people are running 60,000 test cases per month, because this is pretty unique. But we took something which will be comparable for you, something meaningful. So top clients is actually starting from the bottom. This means that these are like 40-50% of our customers. We call them healthy customers, which are doing the amount of test cases which we've designed the tool for. And we see that if you're going to take the equivalent of manual labor versus what they test is an equivalent of 400 man days per year. And that's the saving you get out of the first year. And if you're going to go forward, naturally, the amount of work you need to do, it's kind of a combined, or it is summarized on the first year. Subsequent years are just giving you higher numbers because you know more. The time to value of executive automats is 1 day anyway. But more you do, more you practice, more data presets you're gonna set up, it will be easier for you. So there is, in practice, the executive automats provides you a training session and certification, so you know how to use the tool. But different industries and different approaches are for different industries are pretty unique. So we see that even if we're going to provide you some best practices, when you apply them to yourself, to your company, you will have some drifting, some specifics for your vertical. But it's also nice because we are able to build some specifics for you, functionalities dedicated for customer. Small customers are wrapping about 64 man days of savings per year. Naturally, we compared that with manual testing or having in mind RSAT right now, again, if you're going to compare that, if you're going to think about RSAT, it is still you are able to generate profit by selecting executive automats in favor of executive automats in the first year because of the workload you take on the RSAT to set up, to run, to execute, to keep the data actual, fresh, and so forth. So the statistics are telling us that the database of 200 customers are healthy. They are giving us proof that everything that you are investing in executive automats pays you out, and pays very broadly, not only focusing on test automation. As you know, we sold to Microsoft one of our software for security, and in June, everybody actually from the 27th of January, you are already able to see the product in 1043, but in June it will be official, so everybody will move to it, and then all the test cases we talk about, all the numbers are also converting into the security access rights and documentation for our customers, which will be pretty nice because you're going to have additional benefits. I'll walk you through that through demo and some other elements over the second part, but now Matt will take you into the implementing test automation 2025.
Thanks, Bart. So starting with the why, and as you can see here, we've got some of the main reasons why customers should think about test automation instead of testing manually. And the first one being just the sheer volume of testing that you have to do in D365. You've got the one version updates, you've got the proactive quality updates, you've got your internal releases. In general, if you're already live on D365, you know what it's like. If you're approaching the implementation or approaching go live, then you may not know that so well, but just to mitigate the business risk of something going wrong in your system after you adopt a new release, whether it's Microsoft or your own, you need to test thoroughly. And so if you go through the standard route that clients go through, where they have their users, their key process owners, their subject matter experts do the testing, they will run into the second issue, which is the users will soon start complaining about the amount of testing, the sheer volume of that they have to do on top of their day-to-day job, because they'll have many other things to do, and they will tell you that they have not signed up for something like this. And even if they'll be fine with it, there comes this issue of the reliability of manual testing. Humans make mistakes, and automation or having robots do your tests kind of bulletproofs you from those human mistakes. Of course, you can still make a human mistake whilst creating the script, but once your script is created and you've confirmed and validated it, it will always run the same way, and it will always produce a proof of the fact that it ran and how it ran. So with automation, this reliability aspect is vastly improved. Manual testing is also very slow because if you have a test plan of, let's say, 500 test cases, it will often take you like 2 weeks, and you'll have to involve 10 users or more to complete a full regression test cycle. And if you've got your tests automated, you'll be able to run that entire 500 test case suite just overnight or over a couple of hours in the morning, then validate the results and retest the entire suite if needed. So you'll be able to move much faster than with manual testing. Each regression test cycle will take you days rather than weeks, and or maybe even hours. And the last aspect, it will also cost you much less to automate testing in the long run. Of course, it will cost you a little bit more than you're now spending on manual testing, or you will be spending if you're not yet live, to create your scripts, which will be the big part of the job. But then to maintain those scripts over years, like to put little differences when the processes change or the test cases change, or to add the new ones when you introduce some new processes, that will take much less time than it will take you to test manually over the years. And we have some nice calculators that allow you to calculate the return on investment into test automation projects. So I touched a little on the why of test automation in 2025. Now let me touch on the when. So some of you may already be live, but some of you are probably not yet live and only thinking about implementing D365. So when you look at the slide, the ideal moment, or a very good moment to start thinking about test automation, is right before go live, because by then your application is no longer changing so drastically from day to day. It's more or less ready. It's more or less done. There are not many changes coming, and you can start working on preparing scripts for regression testing. And regression testing only comes into play after go live. But if you start before go live, you can actually kill multiple birds with one stone. So you can use this project to create scripts for test automation, to focus also on business process documentation, to create the security roles for your users based on the processes that you're recording. And you can also focus on performance tests, which are crucial to do well before go live. And Microsoft requires you to do performance tests before go live. And often clients don't really put enough detail into that. And with a tool like Executive Automats, you can design and execute very realistic performance tests where you have real users go through real business processes in the system at the same time, according to whatever requirements you need. And so if you start before go live, of course, many times, very often, it's a case of resources. You will not always have the resources to do that before go live. But if you can start before go live, then the most important thing to focus on is performance tests. And then, as a side effect of creating your scripts for the purpose of regression testing after go live, you can also create business process documentation for your users. If you do it before go live, it'll be useful for the UAT, and also it'll be useful for just user onboarding and training after go live. And if you can also focus on security with our tool that is also becoming the part of the standard, so user security governance, the same processes that you'll be recording for the purpose of business process documentation and regression testing, you'll be able to use to create process-based security for your users. So that's it about the when and the what. So what tools, or how you should select or think about how to select the right tool. So there's a bunch of free or open source solutions like Selenium. There's Playwright. There's RSET, that is a native D365 tool. The biggest problem with those open source or free solutions is that they often require developers to create the scripts. You write the scripts in code, so it takes a long time to learn the solution. It takes a long time to create your scripts and then to maintain them. And also those solutions require you to have dedicated resources, technical resources to cover them. There's also paid solutions. There's a million of them. We've been doing this since AX 2009, test automation in D365 or in AX. So we've run into many different solutions over the years, and what I would focus on in selecting the right solution and the biggest thing about them, that is the ease of use of a given solution. And Bart already touched upon that. If it takes you one day to get operational with a given tool, then it's vastly better or easier to use solution than if you have to spend a month training your users on a different solution. So the ease of use means, first of all, it's quick to train the users to use the tool. Then it's quick to create your scripts. It's quick and easy to maintain your scripts. That's by far number one factor I would focus on. But there are also other factors. You would want a tool that is stable and repeatable. So the script that you create once should run forever, pretty much, until something changes in the system or in the process. It shouldn't be that you create a script with a given tool, you run it once, it works, and then you run it again and it doesn't work. That's not a stable tool. You may be wasting time with a tool like that. You may be better off testing manually than with a tool that's not stable. Then you'd want a tool that's flexible and efficient, which means the time that you have to invest into creating those 500 scripts is as short of a time as possible. You want a tool that allows you to easily maintain your scripts or easily edit, modify your scripts to make them suitable for different business conditions, for different data sets, etc. And then you want a tool that's proven and reliable. So I touched upon that earlier. There's like a million new tools coming into the market every day, and you probably don't want to get a tool that's only been live for the past couple of months or a year, because you really don't know if it'll still be around in a few months or in next year. And Executive Automats, we've been live since 2012, and that was back for X 2009. We had a version for X 2012, and this D365 version that we'll show you today has been live since 2018. So really when Microsoft went into the cloud with D365. And then lastly, something that kind of combines those previous factors. So you want a tool that is optimizing for the total cost of the project. So the total cost of the tool and the project should just be the smallest with the best solution possible. And I believe, and I've seen it many times, I've worked with probably more than, 60, 70 customers in D365 when it comes to test automation. You want a tool that will simply bring the best return on investment. And I do believe this is actually Executive Automats, but I also encourage you to try out our tool, to try out different tools, see what for yourself. We are obviously biased, me and Bart, to which tool is the best, but if you try out different tools, you will see for yourself and you experience it for yourself. With that being said, let's jump into the tool.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this part. I'll just remove slide deck and add as to the screen here. And that is a great summary, as you were mentioning. Try it on your own. We've seen customers coming back to us from different vendors because they wanted to try. And it is cheering us a lot to see people coming with different experiences, different ideas of the testing. And so far we hear huge noise about the need in the testing. So we see natural customer base growth and so forth. And for that specific growing need for testing and proactive quality updates, one version, broader ecosystem of test applications you want to test, we've created an Executive Automats 5.0. The version which was created was done in December last year. we've already went through hotfix cycles, and we've incorporated new elements. So I'll show you a few more features which are just released last week, which is going to be pretty interesting for you, I bet, to see. But let me walk you through a quick idea. What is Executive Automate? If you think about that, Executive Automate is a one platform for test automation, which contains all of your test systems, all of your accounts going to be used for testing. It catalogs your tests. It gives you the capability to plan, execute, and work not only when you are a business user, but also there are open doors for developer. If you want to write code here, we've just enabled that, and you are actually able to do anything. You are able to simulate APIs and go wild with testing. At the end of the day, the focus is on business. The focus is on something zero code, record and play. That is something you can expect from us in multiple places. Once you log in Executive Automate, naturally, you need to have your own credentials. The application is fully SaaS hosted on Azure Cloud or any other, wherever you desire. And when you've created that, when you've planned some executions, that will be your first thing you see in the system, your dashboard. So I can see my last executions. I can see some numbers, some error messages happening. So I can react pretty nicely. Whenever I'm going to see error messages, I can start triage with the people. I can go to the specific test case which failed and automatically convert that to Azure DevOps work item. In the project itself, this is the best place to search for test cases, to search for some specific test cases from your catalog. These catalogs, these projects are up to you how you're going to build that. You can build it this way. You can build by end-to-end streams. We've seen different approaches, and I think we've mentioned this already, but I will just make sure that you notice. The application itself comes with the training and with methodology of testing, which combines ADO. The methodology is pretty obvious from the perspective that you can use it against any tool. The experience we had from AX 2009 gave us a great ground, a great baseline how to test ERP system, and that was something new. There was no ERP testing methodology, and I think we've done it nicely because we've been able to work with enterprises, the biggest size in the Southern Hemisphere, and more around the globe. So at the end of the day, the catalogs and the projects, how you're going to build it, deeply remains to the part of the methodology, the way how you're going to design your test cases, the way how you're going to play around test cases in the system. Today, I will show you, let's do sales. Everybody knows that. So we're going to go and create new empty script. We're going to create it an account receivable free text invoice one-on-one. System automatically defines for me environment and the virtual user, which means that I don't need to think about where to go. Somebody who is an admin of EA or somebody who in your organization knows how to organize that, they can simply do it once, and then any way you want to do it, any moment, you just click record and that starts for you. So you don't need to think about from the business perspective to ask too many questions. In the system, once you create your test case, once you save the name, you just need to work as naturally as you do. So record and then navigate through AR, define the free text invoicing, pick customer, pick some elements around. And if you're going to do it, if you're going to do some mistakes on the way, there's no easier thing than correcting that. So I can simply take my ABC invoice account. I can change this to also customer here. These elements you can easily modify. So if I selected one, you can select something else on the way. The same thing for main account. If you're going to do some double clicks, system didn't load some data, I can easily delete a step. So that gives you clean recording, clean script the moment where you record that. So you don't need later on to go back and forth on the recording process. You just do it naturally. When you're ready, you can post. We can do some validations, because we don't want to give you the tool which does happy path testing only. You are able to embed in here multiple logics, like check the VAT tax amount for me, or check if the actual main account had impact after the posting, or if there are correct dimensions after a transaction. All of that can be validated, and in case that there are some discrepancies, you can always do path A. So when not equal, then go left, and when equal, go right. So the script can be very intelligent, and the script itself, I was mentioning to you that you are able to define just fixed value for the field, but naturally you can do apply here Excel files, number sequences, API calls. We have customers which are recording those simple stuff, but they actually embed at the end some API calls to send some data to the endpoint. All of that is just waiting for you. We want to give you something which will be as easy as it is, as integrated as you see here, where I record test case, I can play it back and very quickly see if my test case went through. It will check number of seconds of the duration. It will validate if all the steps will work here. So from the different approaches we've tested, recording and showing all those results is the easiest path to build test automation. I think only that way you are able to make high profit, high savings on the test automation. And this execution actually is done in the foreground. So if you have new people, somebody who learns the D365 FSCM, they can just watch that and learn how to deal with transactions in the system. You can run that in background and build out of this process a documentation. If you're going to make a bet, I want to have all my test automation around all my business processes. You need to maintain those test cases, but this also means that you have always up-to-date documentation about the business processes, which is a game changer in multiple situations. Documentation is a rare thing, which is updated by people. So that gives you additional benefit. If it went through, I'm fine. I can always go and record more. So if I'm going to go now to account receivable, build customer, and take the customer ID as a variable, that is something I can do. I can either record at the end to continue transaction, or if I'm going to say, hey, I don't want to have it here, I can actually stop it for a moment, change my recording position to the beginning, and that will mean that I'm able to simply modify my test case and extend it right here, and then build an end-to-end scenario. Applying Excel file here is also very easy. You can go with data and apply, drop here Excel file, and apply then to specific fields to change that. So creation of the test case is minutes. Applying some more advanced stuff, additional few moments, and then what you can do, you can extract more value, which means I can go to the execution. Let's go inside. I can see here in my history the statuses. I can find potential information from the system if there are some error messages happening or so forth. I can react from this perspective. System gives me the possibility to create work item. If I'm going to see some inadequate information coming from the business process, I can click it. If I have my integration token defined, it will automatically transfer me to Azure DevOps, where all the details are transferred. And I can tell Matt, hey, there is a one test case, one process failing. Take a look and let us know in the comments if that is actually a bug or a feature. All of that gives you additional benefit of test automation, because the test automation, you use that for a record and play and find the bugs. But if the test automation really does the job and doesn't need additional training, I can ask developer to play back the same test case, and they can benefit multiple times from one execution. We've executed this specific process in foreground, we've seen it, but I can play it back in background. Background execution creates documentation, it may create video for you, more and more is coming. If we're going to play back, we don't see it. We see this patch of the execution, and in the history, we're going to see a running status. This is the open door for scalability. If you're going to go to scheduler and you're going to add a new schedule for webinar testing 5.0, I'm able to create an execution over Saturday where everybody will be enjoying some party at 9 p.m. I want to actually create and open a scheduler. So when we're going to just celebrate our anniversary of Executive Automats, that's not the full anniversary, but one of the celebrations we've got, we are able to run test cases around. If you're going to catalog your test cases, you can just define do the filtering, then take all from the filter. And then if you have your test case, all the test plan will be executed. I can activate and wait for 19 April 9 p.m. to be executed. And then either in history on the dashboard, we're going to see a summary. That gives us the autonomous execution. That gives me plenty of time to come back on Monday and validate if the execution of my webinar testing to 5.0 actually went through. And we always invite our stakeholders to visit the reports. You can send data to the external Power BI report, so we don't need to access Executive Automats, but every stakeholder can log into Power BI. They can overview how the system works like. They can validate some data. This is just the template. Our customers are typically building something more on the top of those dashboard, so all those endpoints. So you're free to modify and build the way how you want to present data, so everybody from the stakeholder will be happy of the investment in test automation. We can talk about that for a long time, but I wanted to show you also something interesting from the perspective of new elements, AI, and new features that we are giving. In latest release in 5.1, we've just incorporated additional layer of AI into test case. And this simply means that whenever you are recording a test case, you are able to do much more. Very often we are asked by customers to work with some external sites, which are working pretty crazy way. So sometimes you need to add some custom step. You need to define some additional logic into the test case. And for that specific idea, we have something called an AI action, which simply means that I can ask the system to click on something or to do something. Let me show how it looks. I can go and tell, click on people button, which is visible here on the workspace. So I can take and add it right after the start instructions, click on people button. And system creates a step which is generated by AI. So all the mechanism, all the execution is done exactly by how AI works. The generation XPath, selectors, context, domain object modeling. So all of that is done by AI, and we are able to do interesting elements because I don't need to record test case. I can just type on the prompt what to do. Something like behavior-driven development is now available. And this actually means that sometimes when you have your test cases steps listed just like that, when you do A, B, C, D step, you'll be able to import that and system will react exactly based on the instructions. So in Dynamics, it works pretty nicely, but also in third-party systems, third-party applications, which are not Dynamix's, you are able to write the same and simply use it against your sites. AI, which is embedded in our application here, gives you the capability to enable business even more. So if I'm a business person, and I want to execute my test case or find out what test cases we've got from sales, hey, what test cases we have in sales area. System does use an OpenAI API, and we are able to quickly browse through the system, ask for execution, take documentation out of it, and all of that is even capable to be executed over Teams. So let me the OpenAI just make a loop. So sorry for that. We'll ask again. Can you list as all test cases from sales area? Let's see if this one will be more understandable.
I gotta say, it's very, very exciting to see the AI use on steps. I think this just came in, right? We shipped the 5.1 on like Monday, but I love to see that. It looks amazing.
True. I see that the live demo here for AI was too much, but I think we'll produce soon a quick video how it gets this. But yeah, the AI is pretty interesting from the usability and business activity. So the business will be able to utilize all of that in full scope soon on the teams and so forth. So in a quick summary, how we can think about executive automats in this specific case is one platform for all the test cases, for all the environments, for all AD accounts you use for testing. All of that you're going to record for your day-by-day business will be here with you. You can record for one entity, change it to another entity, another environment, so forth. And lastly, from June, everybody who runs executive automats will have that capacity to, using user security governance, you'll be able to gain more, which means you'll be able to extract entry points and build security access rights out of the test cases here, which will be a nice advantage and more value for test automation investment in any company. So I think that's it. We will wait for some question and answers. If there will be some, we'll be able to respond. So let me come back to the studio. In the meantime, I'll just run refresh, and maybe I'll be able to come back to the studio in a second with AI restarted.
Sure thing. Thanks, Bart. Excellent presentation as always. We've got a question from Sarah. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Yep. Does Executive Automats also offer pre-designed test cases for standard Microsoft D365 processes, for example, procure to pay? I can answer this one. So we've got a list of, I believe, 110 or 120 standard Contoso processes, and they're very useful for customers who use a pretty much vanilla application where they use a lot of the standard with no modification or very low amount of modifications. But as you can imagine, most clients heavily customize the system, and using that standard pack of scripts and modifying it, tailoring towards your own testing needs, it usually takes more time than just creating your scripts from scratch. So whilst we do have that list of scripts, and we provide it with some of the versions of Executive Automats, it's usually useful more for the training purposes, just to see for the users how to create good quality scripts. Maybe use some of that, but most of the scripts users will usually create by themselves anyway. So I hope that answers your question. And then we have a question from Julie. Is Executive Automats supporting end-to-end / integration testing plus testing towards desktop applications? Bart, you want to answer that one? Or should I?
You can take it.
Sure. So we cannot test desktop applications. That's one of the our major, I would say, constraint. That's the word I was looking for. But we can test anything that is web-based. So whilst we focus mostly on Microsoft technology, the tool is perfect for D365, FNO, CE, Power Platform, etc. Many of our clients also use it for different integrations that they have with their D365. That could be a vendor portal, it could be a web shop, it could be many things. So you can automate everything that you have that is web-based, but desktop applications you cannot, unless you can somehow emulate them on web, or you can test them via API requests, like Bart was showing on the demo or mentioning about it. But yeah, desktop applications we cannot test from the UI.
Exactly. Or if you're going to build a pipeline which executes partially web-based and then exchange with executive automate variables and then have second application for desktop, that will be capability. But yeah, natively we don't do that.
Let me jump to the next one from Julie also. Thanks, Julie, for the questions. Are there built-in Microsoft D365 standard features, test modules within Executive Automates, so you don't need to repeat standard functionality of D365?
I think this comes more like the basic test cases package that we deliver. We have around 180 processes that we've been automating for a while, and that is something you can provide you. So if you are running pure Contoso, you could use it. But you probably noticed that the recording and playing takes a minute. So very often customers are just taking those as inspiration. But to extend this topic a little bit, we just entered a new category with Executive Automates because we created something called discovery, and that is something called observability. What does it mean? If you would like, we can observe your environment and make a deep system analysis. And based on how your system behaves, how your users are doing business, we are able to unpack from your environment test cases, which is pretty wild. We are able to use AI to name the processes accordingly to business patterns from business process catalog. And after a few months of observing, you are able to get significantly big list of business processes patterns which are done in the system. That is a new thing. It is connected to Executive Automates for testing as this builds one platform. But yeah, if you would like to hear about this a bit more, we're going to have a second webinar which focused purely on the discovery element.
And it will be next week, Tuesday. So
that's right.
Mark that in your calendar. Let me jump to the third question from Julie. To do some learning regarding test automation with Executive Automates, can you get a demo environment, non-commercial use, not limited in time? So Julie, on the next slide, there will be our contact information. Please reach out to me and we can discuss it. It's not a problem. And let's jump back to the question from Christian. How does Executive Automates support changes in the user experience, like when Microsoft in 32 removed the back button and introduced the back button?
Yeah, these glitches are pretty nice. Thank you so much, Christian, for that question. So what do we have in Executive Automates? There is one element that we do for every new version. Every new version of FNO, which is released FSCM, is tested against hundreds of test cases on our test environment. We are enhancing our behavioral patterns, which are delivered to every customer. So when something like this happens in the system, in majority of cases, we can say 95, 98%, this is automatically handled by the new behavior package that we are delivering to the end customers. We code, so you don't need to, kind of the easiest way to explain that. But even if you will have one button which was changed because that might be your modification or ISV, you are able to take that one element, click on that button, disable, remove, or replace it. So the modification or adjustment to it will be again, minutes, not even hour or more.
By the way, it comes to mind. I remember vividly when Microsoft introduced the new grid control. I don't know,
Yeah,
was it 2 years ago or something like that?
update
And
36. Yeah,
yeah, and all of the competitors' tools and scripts clients created with it started failing. Our script started failing as well. But we were, I believe, the only solution provider for automated testing in D365 who was able to provide a systematic solution where our clients didn't have to do anything really to fix their scripts. We just fixed them. We just provided them a fix systematically. So yeah, it's worth to mention that. And Christian said what I meant was they removed the close button. Yeah, so if a button is removed, then I guess your script cannot click it, and you have to edit that step and pick something else, I guess.
let's wait if we have more questions.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Do we have any other questions? If not, we'll be wrapping things up. Let's just give I don't know, a minute if there's a question or two more. We can answer it. If not, we'll be wrapping things up. And Julie, for you, here's the email address. Please reach out to me and we can discuss your specific situation.
And maybe I will just jump back with the screen for a moment to AI because it was funny.
Sure.
So let me take it out. So guys, when we sometimes some APIs are not up and running in the moment, but yeah, take a look. The process that we did together and clicking on the people button, so that one works the following. So we type the prompt to the system, and just by instructions, it goes to the button. We haven't clicked on it, and as I was mentioning, you are actually able to build your test case totally on typing, not even recording, which is pretty mind blowing. And then I was walking once again to the chat, and after loading, this is what you get. You're gonna get listing of all test cases from the system. You're able to ask for execution. You are able actually to ask about the results. So if one of my test cases failed in the execution, I'm able to, from that perspective, ask for explanation why my process doesn't work. So an AI will do great work for you to explain and make a triage, and that is probably the way to go with test automation. If I'm going to ask, can you show me last execution with error message? Let's make a last gamble if AI doesn't have now any issues with OpenAI, but I think this will give you some nice yeah. There is some OpenAI issue right now, so sorry for that. But we're gonna record some nice videos which are explaining that in detail. In the meantime, Matt, we can carry on with the slides.
All right. Yeah, there's a question from Rich. Can you send the list of standard scripts included in EA? Of course, we have them in Excel. So if you can reach out to me, Rich, you can see my email on the screen. And I think someone just Alicia, I believe, posted it on the chat as well. I'll be happy to send it to you. All right. Looks like there are no more questions, so we'll be wrapping things up here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the questions. I hope you got something useful out of this webinar. If you want to find out more about executive automats, about automated testing, or about other solution of ours, please visit our website, executiveautomats.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on YouTube, or reach out directly to me or Bart via email or LinkedIn. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Matt. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.